Welcome, BBCers, to episode number 295 of the Broken by Concept podcast, the number one League of Legends solo queue educational and motivational podcast. Charlie, Curtis, we have been playing a bit of League recently. Maybe Curtis and I a little bit more so than you, Charles.
I wish.
But we're all climbing. We're all, I mentioned last episode, I recently hit back in the good old Challenger, now 1,000 LP.
You've maintained.
Yes. And we've sort of been talking about mid-game. We're getting obsessed with mid-game. Curtis was showing us today about a sequence in the mid-game that literally won the game. I've had a coaching session this week where mid-game, guy gets his first item and very clear opportunity to take over the game, but just auto-pass back to his camps versus sprint into the same side of the map that he was. Bot's heavy trading, could have got a triple kill, broken bot tower, but we got to go full clear top to bot.
Yep.
So, things like that, examples like that. So mid-game, we're going to be talking and start off the podcast about mid-game. So let's go around the round table about three mantras, three mindsets that have been working for us so far in the mid-game.
Why don't you start, Nathan, since you're having so much success at the moment in solo
having
queue?
so
Because the way Nathan plays the game, for everyone who's interested, is Nathan will pop a couple of fullies at the start of every game. He plays Rek'Sai, but he doesn't gank very much.
That's right.
In the first couple of clears. What you do 3 full clears basically every game, right?
Oh, yeah.
2.5?
Yeah.
Am I revealing your secrets?
Yeah, you are revealing my secrets. But yes.
3 full clears towards bot.
I win the game in mid-game.
Yes. So how do you do that? What are your mindset? What's one mindset?
So we're going to do one at a time?
Yeah, we're going to one mindset and we're going to racket ball it around.
Okay. Be obsessed with your strongest person and be obsessed with their recalls.
Oh.
And when they recall, they come out of base, don't make a play, let them get pressure, push aside first, push away first, then make a play with them. Figure out how to get, typically a lot of the time it's going to be mid or top lane. Those are where I have most success. If my mid or top lane is really strong, you let them get that side, then you take control of the map.
So what does that look like? So you're saying on your team, you hover your solo lane.
Yes, that's the step before that is identify who your strongest member is, and then you have to just do nothing. You just have to just wait for them to recall.
Don't force a play.
Yeah. Or not walk into the river or do something stupid. Because
wait for them to get on the map in a good position, ready to go, then you make the play.
So it's basically 2 things. It's number 1, identify your strongest member.
Yep.
And number 2, synchronize your pressure with theirs.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
And so what common mistake do you see? Like, how is that? What do you see in the Jungle Academy in terms of like people not doing that? What do they do instead?
So if they do identify the strongest member, they don't let them, they just ARAM with them.
Right.
Instead of letting them get some pressure in the side or
So they rush to make a play immediately.
Yes, immediately.
Rather than allow that person to get them into the side lane, leverage their pressure to make a play in the future, essentially.
Exactly right. A way that I've learned this is always putting myself in my laner's shoes or my strongest member, because if I'm like a Riven that's 3-0 and then, I've just recalled, I've completed my second item, right? Do you really want to sprint on the map and instantly make a play?
No, usually don't.
No, you don't, right? You want to push away. So I always put myself in those shoes like, what would I want to do if I'm this person? And when you actually view it that game that way, the game becomes really clear.
The underlying principle there is a really consistent way to carry games from ahead isn't just by using your gold lead to win fights, is you use your gold lead to pin your counterparts and then go create a numbers advantage fight. That's what's actually happening.
That's right, because you're guaranteed to get a numbers advantage because they can't match, no one can match the 3-0 Riven. They're scared.
Exactly.
They have to wait for the waves to get pushed.
Because then what you're doing is you have both. You still have the item lead in the fight, but you also have the numbers advantage. It's like unlosable at that point.
Yeah. So obsessed with that. I see so many people in coaching sessions stuff that up, especially, this is a really big learn objective I set for like Diamond Master players, because people just get so bored in solo queue. They can't do it. I even when I tell people to, and I even observe it in the junglers that I play against, even in my elo, they just can't hold themselves back and just wait. Do you know how painful it is as a jungler to have no camps on the map, okay? And you're just like sitting, like hovering maybe your 80 carry mid, or you're just waiting for your Riven to come back.
But I think that goes for everyone. I don't think that's just junglers. I think solo laners that have prior, right? And I would say for top laners, mid laners especially, let's say you're winning, you're snowballing, you're getting the side wave out, you're hovering, and then everyone just backs off.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, there's nothing I can do there. I got to, and let's say you've just come off a recall. You don't need to recall. So you literally just hover out of vision.
You're going to
wait.
run the game.
Yeah.
You're going to make a play and run the game. It's really hard.
I would say it's a skill. It's a massive skill.
It's a skill. And you know this one thing, I've always think about this, about, the patience in the big game. This one, because I even make this mistake and mess this up occasionally because it requires a lot of this. You have to be focused to do it. This is the reason why I think that it doesn't matter how much game knowledge you have and even what rank you were in the past, you will make that mistake again. I guarantee I'll make that mistake again.
The game tricks you.
Yeah.
It actually happens. I'll throw myself under the bus here. Nathan as the 1000 LP player teaching. I'll be the student here, the measly 500 LP player. It happened in literally the most recent game I played. We were contesting as Dragon. I was playing Yunara, and we had a Tristana mid who was split pushing top, right? And this is where the game tricks you because I've fully understood in the lull state that my Tristana top was 1v0 pressuring the tower on the opposite side. So all we had to do was not contest this Dragon, let Tristana get pressure top, and then she can decide if she's going to TP in, is she going to walk, or she's going to split push and we'll just concede. And then we can just win on the opposite side, right? Very simple macro play in theory. But then in practice, my jungler and my support are running into the river contesting as I'm on the mid wave. And they look like they're getting a pick on the Yone, on the enemy mid laner. And they do. They get into like a quarter HP.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, fuck, I know
Now you
Tristana's
gotta go
top.
in.
But now they're getting the pick. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to run at the fight, right? So I run at the fight. We kill Yone. We all die because we get collapsed on afterwards. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself,
It's so
damn,
fascinating.
I use my lull state so well to identify what to do. But it's so easy to get like distracted in the moment and get tricked. That's why it tricks you because like you can kind of get small wins.
Yeah, you can fight numbers advantage fights. You can, like, if someone gets chunked, like, oh, maybe I can actually go for this. And, I know it's like a bit of a mistake, but I'm going to go for it.
Well, that's the hardest thing about mid game is kind of having your hypothesis about, your win condition or what you want to do, but then also adapting to the reality of what's in front of your eyeballs.
Correct.
Right? What's actually happening right now. And the best players are able to be like, well, I didn't really plan on doing this, but you know what? That guy's actually out of position. I can do that.
Yeah.
Right. And I actually think this is a beautiful segue into my first piece of advice for mid game is I'm absolutely obsessed nowadays, and I'm actually going to be doing a lecture on it this week in the Midland Academy on the kind of beat them to the punch mindset. Okay. And so my entire mindset, this is actually on no matter what champion I play. It doesn't matter if I'm playing support secondary or if I'm playing any mage or any assassin. When I'm moving into the mid game, the most reliable type of fight that you're going to take is a man advantage. That is the best possible fight that you could ever take in League of Legends is a man advantage. We've got 5, they've got 4, we've got 4, they got 3, something like that, right? Now, in order to find these opportunities, you have to be in a very particular type of mindset, right? You have to be looking constantly for those opportunities, okay? And so I always view it as like there's an ebb and flow of League of Legends in mid game where someone's going to shove out the side, someone's going to be recalling. You need to not only be communicating that intention to try and get your team excited about getting ready to kind of beat them to the punch, but then the millisecond it happens, that one window, you have to be willing to pull the trigger. Now, there's this awesome clip that I'm going to use for my lecture this week in the Midland Academy about where I'm playing TF, or obviously a champion that can really leverage this mindset really effectively.
Yeah.
But I engage on the Poppy, Tanky's Poppy and Shen. Right, which would make no sense from a target selection perspective, but they're just split from the team. They're just way too split from the team. So I just pull the trigger, no hesitation, ping on my way, start a fight onto a Poppy with my gold card. I get slammed into the wall. Shen tells me I don't die. I know I can't die, but then we end up killing them both because they're so far away from the team it doesn't even matter. And that's a play where it's like why are you engaging on the double tank?
You're intentionally like.
Yeah, but that's so intentional because I know that they're so out of position, it doesn't matter. And so I think the amount of opportunities that people would be able to, let's say, create if they had that mindset of just, I need to beat them to the punch. I need to be obsessed with finding that one window, that one opportunistic man advantage, that would revolutionize their entire mid game. That's my mindset on every champion.
Yeah, that specific play that you just mentioned right there, because you're like, Intin is short for intentionally feeding. It's like intentionally winning, right? Because it's actually very advanced what you've done there, because you're putting yourself in a position that's not ideal for you because you know that your team can get there quicker and follow up.
It's extremely advanced.
It's really advanced.
I say it goes a step further because what you're doing as well is you're preying on the psychology of the Poppy Shen.
Yes.
Poppy and Shen,
They feel safe.
They
Yeah,
feel
no,
safe.
no,
Why do they feel safe? Because they're tanks.
They're tanky. They would never expect to get
exactly
turned
right,
on.
yes.
Well, they're tanky, but they're also seeing a Twisted Fate like look like his Intin as well. So
Yeah,
they're
that's
going
true
on
as
that.
well.
That's the
Yeah.
key psychology because they know, like,
They're never going to run away.
yeah, they're never going to run away because like there's a TF right in front. He's gold carding us. Like, let's
have to slam him,
Let's
yeah.
slam him.
Yeah.
There's no way Poppy's not going to slam
Yeah.
me and Shen's not going to taunt me.
But the thing is, especially in Challenger High Elo, Shen and the Poppy, they know that it's they shouldn't be really fighting, but they can't help themselves because Curtis is
Because
just.
he just looks so juicy.
Yes, he looks so juicy.
Yeah, he's
Exactly
hanging
right.
himself
Yeah.
over them like
Yeah.
as you were talking about mid game as well, using like people as bait.
Yeah.
Mid game is a series of baits.
Yeah,
Switches,
it
isn't
is.
it? It's really
It is
interesting.
because mid game, especially when you're playing in the higher elo brackets, and then Nathan, you've said this so much in the podcast, which I love, is like we're not in like the Civil War era where we're just gonna line up and like just run at each
Shoot
other.
on muskets.
Right? We're playing
Yeah.
guerrilla warfare, right? This is what we're in. We're in like Vietnam, right? This is what we're trying to do.
That's
We're trying to hide in holes and we're trying to do all this weird shit to
Fog
try
of
and
war
create
vision.
weird advantages. That's
Yeah.
what mid game is fundamentally all about. When you start to switch from that Civil War era to guerrilla warfare type fighting, that's when you can really start opening your mind and find unique opportunities to get an edge.
I guess I learned that really quickly because certain champions are rewarded for that.
Yeah,
also,
they
right?
facilitate
Architect.
that mindset
Like
a little
Assassin,
bit
like
more.
because I play Rexar, right? So I don't want flat.
But I
out
do
team
think that's a
fights.
misconception. I think a lot of people think, oh, you play TF, so that's obvious. But you use these methods on every champion.
Every champ. That's what you say. Every
If I'm on
champ, yeah.
Orianna, or if I'm a TF, or if I'm playing,
What happens if you're Xerath?
it's the same thing.
Okay,
It's
what
the
does that
same
look
thing.
like? What's
Okay,
an
so well,
example?
that's a great question, right? So if I'm playing Xerath and I see that there is an 80 carry kind of out of position, I might just try to ult that guy to chunk him before the fight or whatever, knowing that now he's going to be off tempo and then we can create a man advantage elsewhere. There's creative ways to create man advantages, or I might, I could like maybe overextend myself into the side lane to drag two members somewhere and whatever. There's an infinite amount of things that you can do with your kit creatively. It's just about how you leverage that kit to create an advantage. But I would say the X factor for Xerath specifically would be how you creatively use your R, the timing of your R, right? You can use your R. A lot of Xeraths make the mistake of using R after the fight to try and clean up. But you would use it at the beginning of the fight. You would chunk out the 80 carry even before the fight's even started.
on the mid wave.
On the mid wave, and then you've got a man advantage for that next fight. Things like that, right? So that you can get creative. It's just whatever tools you have to your disposal.
So a lot of AD carries always say they have no control over the game. What does that look like for AD carry? Then create a man advantage. It's been that obsessive mindset that Curtis is talking about.
I think it's incredibly simple
It's just
for AD
mid-pro,
carry.
right?
It's literally, just shove and move.
Yeah.
But you just shove and move in a very different way. Solo laners shove and move by pushing out sides, pinning people, and then moving two plays. AD carries shove mid, and then they want to like get control. They rarely move two plays. It's more like you push mid, you pin them, and then if you catch a straggler after you shove and move, fantastic, and that often happens. And honestly, it doesn't matter what champ you're playing at that point. You can be playing bloody... Smolder, and you can shove and move mid, and if you run into someone while someone's pinned at mid, you beat them to the punch. Like Curtis is saying, you pounce on that opportunity. But more often than not, you're just doing the classic shove mid, go get vision, shove mid, push it slightly deeper, shove mid, maybe start the objective. Very boring. But it's all numbers advantage based.
Is it easy? You know, a lot of AD carries know that.
Yeah.
Is that a discipline thing as well? Can they actually execute that, or is it they get tricked, or what's some common mistakes? Why do not people execute that?
Well, they don't the most common thing I see is that people don't specifically know what to do with their character after the midwave. It's actually that simple. So the way I teach that is that there's like a massive like laundry list of things to do after the game, and I like to tier list it for people. So like in an S tier thing to do after pushing the midwave would be to like hit the mid tower, because that's like the best thing that you can do. But it's very rare you can actually do that. And then like a tier under that would be maybe like, I'm going to go start like Baron or start Dragon or whatever. And then maybe move to a fight or gank a side lane or recall or go a jungle camp or lean to a side or drop a pink ward or go Fog of War. I know there's a billion things. We all know there's a billion things. But to the average player, they don't see those invisible options. They only see the sexy ones. They see the objective to hit the tower. They don't see the lean, the gank, the ward, the move with jungle. So they don't do it. They just hover around mid and do doughies.
So it's just a knowledge thing. They just don't know.
But I would actually, to riff on that a little bit, I think a lot of people struggle with mid-game, specifically all those smaller invisible things, because they don't understand the future consequences of what could happen, like positive things that could happen by doing that, right? Like, your confidence in mid-game stems from, okay, if I do these things, a potential opportunity may present itself.
Correct, yes.
Right? It may not, but it may. You know, so it's like you almost got to just have faith that
You're
if
like fishing.
Yeah, I call it the fishing mindset. You've got to fish. You're constantly fishing for opportunities, and you might do something. It may fail, may not, like whatever. You got to just be open to the idea of like you can do all these things, play a flawless game macro wise, and there might just be like one opportunity.
Maybe a bad day on the water. You know?
Exactly right.
Think of that the example I showed you before we started recording, where I was playing Yunara again, and I did really good lane assignment. Instead of catching that fat side wave, I just went mid, normal play, pushed it out. In that situation, I was rewarded because I could shove and move, and we actually invaded the jungle and we killed the enemy jungle off that play. Whereas a lot of people in my review sessions, they would just kind of go straight to the side lane and just want to get juiced. Yeah. That's another thing people do, is they under prioritize the mid waves and the mid prio because they don't see the immediate result, but they over prioritize the side lane and the farming in the side lane because they do see the immediate result. Because they see their gold go up in their inventory.
And like solo experience.
Yeah, they love being high levels, getting farmed, but they're missing opportunities. That's the AD carry thing. It's the missed opportunities. Yep. And that's what leads them to say they have no agency.
So what was your tip here, Charles?
Oh, the conversation's turned into a muck. We're in the muck already.
We're in the weeds at the moment. Get us out, Charles.
Oh, God. What did I say? Honestly, Nathan took mine, which was who's strong, who's weak. I guess an important mindset I like to have in the mid game, we've said it 100 times on the podcast, but I will be very happy to bring it up again.
Absolutely.
It's just what's next, just what's next. It's a good little mantra to repeat yourself. If I'm playing really high intensity League of Legends, I'll literally say it out loud. Just like, what's next? Say it after a play. Say it after a minion wave. Say it after things go to shit is usually the best way to do it. So if your team loses a fight or you lose a fight, in the death realm, just fucking sit there and say, okay, what's next? Stops you dwelling on mistakes that game, refocuses you, and also just keeps you thinking. Because like a good underlying concept of mid game, for me anyway, is like you don't really want to be in one spot on the map for too long. Do you guys feel this? This is something intuitive I feel when I play. It's like, I don't like being in the same area too frequently. I want to like push out waves, maybe hover a bit and then dip and go somewhere else and then make people react and then go somewhere else and then dip and kind of just always be moving.
But isn't some games literally that you can't do that?
Yeah, but that's what good like league feels like. You're strangling the opponent. Whereas like, it's like in tennis, you're putting the ball in one area of the court, they run to it and then you put it on the complete opposite side and then they're kind of chasing after the ball. That's kind of a mindset that I try and adopt as well. And if you're constantly asking yourself what's next, it allows you to just kind of move to the next area.
So what are some examples of like what's next? What are some things to think through? Because I think where people get tricked with this, they think they have what's next. Let's say it's like a dragon or a baron, and then that's the end of. There's only one option.
Yeah.
Do you like? Because when I think about what's next, I think about maybe a couple of things.
A couple of things.
Yeah, like let's say for example, what's next? Going back to my mid game principle. Okay, dragon's up, but I've also tab screened. I've also checked who my strongest member is.
Yeah. I'm
also, thinking about like maybe my gold, my next item spike as well. Like I have, so then I can activate things.
Yeah. So that
like because let's say because I need to be ready if the dragon's because solo queue's chaotic. You might lose that dragon. It's just the conditions mean you lose it in the next 30 seconds.
That's why you have to ask what's next again. You keep asking.
Yeah, but isn't it too late at that point?
No, I don't think so. It can't be. You can't plan for everything. Like you said, solo queue's chaotic. You can kind of have an idea about what might happen.
I think having the idea is important. Otherwise, people tunnel vision. Because if you say what's next dragon and then dragon doesn't happen, it's really hard to do what's next and then do something different.
It's very hard, yeah.
It's like impossible. I think it's impossible for players.
But I also think it's incredibly hard for the average player to mentally prepare to pivot as well. It's all hard, right? So let's say I'm coming out of base and I identify I want to play for dragon. So my plan is to shove mid and then lean into bot river to set up Drake, right? And then I see my top laner go top out of base with no teleport. I ping them to come. They don't come. I have to go and ask myself again, okay, what's next? Now, I'm not going to waste time before that preparing for that. I'm just going to wait for him to make that decision, and then I'm going to make that choice. Again, that's how I operate. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I'm playing 4D chess, 5 moves ahead. Maybe you can. Maybe that's a jungle thing, but
maybe jungle is just free a mental stack.
But yeah, I wouldn't. I would just adapt. And that's why I value really quick thinking as well. That's what what's next can help you do. It's going to allow you to just adapt and think really quickly on the fly because it's more tactical than strategic, right? I don't think you can really pre-plan that much. I mean, what would that look like?
Yeah, that's exactly the scenario for me. I'm thinking about like my next item, thinking about who my strongest member is, maybe even thinking about who my second strongest member, if that person like dies or gets caught or something like that.
I think that's the difference between jungle and some of the other roles. Like you don't have the mental stack capacity to think like so far in advance when you're playing a solo laner or like a carry because you're thinking about your own character. Like what do I got to do? There's obligations that I need to meet right now. that are really important. I think as a jungler, you have a little bit more mental capacity to think that way.
There's like threat assessment layered on top as well. I need to think, can I contest this wave? If so, how?
Because you're not, as a jungler, you're not
don't
thinking,
need to think about
yeah,
that.
you're not thinking who kills you. As a carry, as an
Yeah.
AD carry, and as a mid laner, a lot of the time you're thinking who can kill me. Not just who I can kill, but who can
Key
kill
threats?
me.
Who has sums? Can I push out this wave? Who's near me? I need to,
Yeah.
I need to communicate
Where's
to get
my
people.
support or where's my jungler? Like, there's so much I need to know just to play the game.
Yeah, just to touch the wave.
Just to touch the wave.
Yeah.
Can I even touch this wave? Should I touch this wave?
Yeah.
Should I slow build this one instead of hard shove?
Yep.
There's a lot of decisions that
How
need
am
to
I
be
going
made.
to route into the river after pushing this wave? Do I
Yeah.
need to go the safe way? Can I
Agreed.
push aggressively? Is there a ward there? There's so much shit to think
Yeah,
about.
there's a lot of things to think about. Yeah.
So that goes to my next principle is that's been helping me. And again, I've been talking about this in coaching sessions, especially Diamond Master junglers, the speed of trading sides of the map.
Yeah.
Love it.
Because
That's every role. For
yeah,
sure.
it's every,
That's
Yeah, I
every
agree.
position
because
in
if
the
you're
game.
too slow, they get the objective and
Yep.
they also can defend the other side.
Yep.
And that's worst
I
case
think
scenario.
this is one of those concepts that like is so it's so pervasive in the community. Like everyone talks about it. You hear it on every second YouTube video or something, but no one does it.
No.
It's something that is so well understood, but no one
Yeah.
does it. Think about how many people in your games
Yeah.
actually call off dragons
Dude,
to trade.
Very few.
Very few people.
Maybe one a week.
Really?
One human a
very,
week.
very few
in my
people.
games anyway.
Yeah, in my games,
in
very
Master.
few people take accountability.
Yeah.
Actually, think critically about the next neutral.
Look, because so I'm the one the way that's
Yeah,
calling
me too.
it,
I'm
right?
always the one as well.
Yeah.
But
No one else is
But
doing
the
it.
games, if there is another person that calls that I don't like that, I just know that person's insane.
Yeah, you already know they're a really
yeah,
good player.
yeah,
the,
that's true.
the confidence.
Oh, you already know instantaneously that they're a challenger player,
Yeah.
basically. I don't
Yeah.
think there is a single non-challenger player that thinks critically about trading off neutrals, at least in my games.
That
I
makes
would-
sense why I'm not seeing it happen in my games.
Yeah, I think I see it more. Definitely not that. I probably see it at least like once every 3 games.
Yeah. I mean, I'll speak for myself. I do it. I mean, you've seen me do it in games I play with you guys, but I do it very inconsistently. Like you guys will do it way more consistently than
Yeah,
I
it's
would.
consistency.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I think I had maybe it was a Xerath or something like that. It was like a game where it was literally a 4v5. Like my AD carry just gave up and was trolling, and the rest of my team was sweating. No, sorry, it was my mid laner that was trolling. The rest of my team was sweating, and then we were like ahead, and we could have easily 100% contested a dragon, but we took the 100% save play to not contest it because we were a little bit slow, had no vision.
Yeah.
Pushed the waves, got more resources, and then like guaranteed won the next fight. And like some of my teammates called. I was like, because I was sort of thinking about that, but the fact that he was so decisive doing that, I was like, holy shit! Like that won us the game.
Yeah.
It was so impressive.
Don't you? I mean, what do you think about this? Like, I think that the skill of cross mapping an objective is harder when you're ahead than when you're behind.
Yeah, it is exactly right. Yes, when it's behind, it's quite simple, but when you're ahead. Because think about that, it's like a 60% chance, 70% chance you actually win that fight of the dragon. But you're taking the 100, like we don't need this dragon. It's like 2-1 or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're going to get the guaranteed resource because we know we outscore our getting items or whatever it is. Because that's just ludicrous.
Yeah.
If you think that you can, like you should, probably, like a lot of people would say you could.
But I think this is
contest.
because a lot of people play mid-game on edge. They're permanently like suffering from low confidence.
Yeah.
Like I imagine like most people, and I would say just for what people say to me in the academy, the moment they move into mid-game, they're feeling like they're treading on ice. As in, like everything is scary and reactive, and they've got very low confidence. They're insecure about the decisions they need to make. They're just trembling their way through mid game. And I think it's easy for a lot of people who are in our position or other high level players who have a great understanding of maybe win conditions and tempo and all this shit, for us to say, just do this. Because I think mid game is one of those things where confidence comes as a byproduct of understanding the flow of mid-game. How mid-game is such a general umbrella term. It's the culmination of like 17 concepts, right? Mid-game. That's the way I've always described mid-game. It's this very kind of general term we throw into the mix to say, it's just, mid-game is this 15 to 30, 28 minute mark. But in reality, it's like, okay, we could sit here for hours talking about all the little things that make up a mid-game, right? And so it's not until you get, like, let's say, a really solid structure in your mid game that you can even begin to feel the confidence to make a decision or make a call, right? And that's why I think it's what I'm trying to get at in a long-winded way. Most people don't trade off neutrals, not because maybe the concept is complex. It's just that they don't have the confidence to actually make that definitive call.
Yeah.
I think that's a big problem that holds a lot of people back, which actually ties into my point to riff on that is just communicating your intent. And I think communication is one of the highest skill cap skills in League of Legends. And
When you say communication, you're saying typing or pings?
Pings.
Yeah,
Just pings.
Pings are
Simply
broken.
just pings.
Pings are, that's why, the whole voice comms thing and stuff like that, like conversation. I communicate just fine with pings.
I've
and
done
everyone's
some
on the same
complex
page.
stuff this week on pings. Remember the clip I showed you where I gave up mid, we were down 3 dragons to 0. We had no mid push, and I conceded the mid push to contest dragon through bot wave. And we did it. All 5 of my teammates were able to go through bot to contest dragon through bot river. I think I showed you that as well.
Yep.
All pings, all my pings. I didn't type a word. I don't play with chat on. I have the party chat. I just pinged that whole thing, and then we actually were able to do it and contest and win.
It's the combination of 3 things, I think. Pinging, body language.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
influence
body
with your
language,
body
yeah.
language, and then adapting.
Yeah.
If you can do those 3 things, you can ping, use body language, and then adapt. You are a very, very, very scary player to verse in mid game, regardless of what the decision is. So, like, basically, my mindset is in mid game is just don't be afraid to just communicate and look like an idiot, make decisions boldly, and just communicate boldly. And I think that alone, even if you are wrong, is going to take you a very long way. But I also think it speeds up the quality of your learning process in the post game, right? If I'm definitively saying no to this and we don't do it and it ends up being the wrong play, then so be it. I can live with that consequence. And I've had many people criticize my Baron calls, even in my live comms. I'll be either ultra conservative, like, why are you not sort of ending the game? And I've made wrong calls. We could have just ended the game. And that's fine.
That's the Curtis Classic, by the way.
I'm just living with that consequence.
Baron over Nexus.
Yeah, Baron over Nexus.
But it wins you in the long run.
Yeah.
You
In
will
the long
run,
you
I
will
will
win
win
more games. That's
but
correct.
I'm willing to then lose some of those games where we could have ended the game, you know?
But that's you talk about people building confidence, and how do you learn this? You make the calls and lose the game.
Yes, exactly right.
Because then you have ownership, right? Because if you're running around mid game, following and adapting, that's how you get plateaued. You get stuck because you're never learning anything.
Because you're just reacting to everyone else's calls.
And you can just blame it on anyone, and you're not
Exactly
actually
right.
taking accountability. If I make you're fully aware. I could end the game. I might get flamed, whatever it is. I might lose the game because of this play now, but this was my decision.
Yep. Yeah, I literally had a TF game the other day where I just made terrible calls and made terrible decisions and made the game way harder than it needed to be. But again, I made those decisions. I can review them very, very clearly. And great. That's it. That's what mid-game's all about. That's how you develop your confidence.
I think a really important part of communication as well, it's not just saying what to do, it's calling plays off.
Yes.
Like the 2 plays I love to call off the most, or even just the 1 play I like to call, is hitting towers, especially before objectives. Like everyone gets so excited. They're like, you win a fight, you start pushing towers, the dragon timers maybe like 50 seconds, maybe like a minute 10 or something, and everyone wants to stay for the next tower. But then we all know what happens. You stay for that next tower. They come out of base. They stop your bases. You lose tempo.
They get caught, man. You lose
chain inting.
Yeah.
It's tons of shit, right? But if you can make that confident call, say, "Hey, no, guys, danger ping the tower. I know we could get this tower." It's like you're actively making a decision. You're thinking about the future, and I guess that's what's the hard part.
Imagine how crazy that is against saying yourself, I can take a tower right now, but it's not worth it in the long run.
because I want tempo for the next thing.
People's brains explode.
That's the what's next mindset coming into play again. You don't just look at what's in front of you. You think about like the repercussions of that and what else is popping up in the game. But yeah, that's such a powerful one, I think. Saying no to taking a tower. I hate taking towers. Towers fall naturally in League of Legends, from my perspective.
they do.
Perspective. Maybe with solo laners it's different. Maybe you guys have to actually kill them. But from my perspective, towers just kind of fall.
As a jungler, I need to put in work to like figure out how to break towers, especially side towers. Like
I think it's important to try and really break the tier 1s. Like I think I really try to, if I can, like I try to eke out a tier 1 mid.
I feel the impossible. I feel the opposite. I try and keep my mid tower alive.
Yeah,
my mid
right.
T1. Like I don't choose when theirs drops. All I can do is take mine alive.
Right.
That's such a different mindset.
It's a different mindset.
And by the way, with you, because you care about mid tower,
Yeah.
I don't really care about mid tower that much unless I have very easy dives mid. But my entire mindset, especially when I get my first item, is what is the easiest side tower for me to break?
Right.
Because in general, it's easier to break side towers because you can create those man advantages, I guess, to like dive and stuff like that. Rather mid's like, I always say mid's like a light flies to a light, right? Everyone's just gravitates towards mid, so it's hard to break. And
Like moths to a flame.
Moths to a flame. And also mid laners have better really good wave clear typically. So
For the most part,
yeah.
Charles.
Okay, Charles. So this is funny because we're sort of like Russian roulette here.
Oh yeah.
Because like, I'm doing the gun, it's not going, and then you get left.
Yeah, it's quite
You know what I
interesting, isn't
mean?
it? I get to pick up the scraps
Yeah.
and reset the conversation.
Yeah.
By the way, the
No,
three
because we're taking everything.
you are the 3 things I wrote down before on my phone.
Yeah,
It's like my
we're
backup
taken.
options were what's next, cross mapping objectives, and what else is the ones?
Communication or something.
Something else we discussed already. Let me think off the top of my head. So mid game things to do, mindsets in mid game. I mean, two simple ones for AD carry specific, which I'll piss out is like for some champions, like this will be really relevant to people. No R, no fight. I think it's a beautiful one. Pay attention to your teammates.
Tracking
and
ultimates is a game changer. It's such a small thing that we do, but people, when I do live comms or whatever, they always mention, you're so good at identifying who has ultimate. And I literally ping my ultimate.
Yeah.
See me when I play with you that game, I'm pinging my ultimate all the time. Like I want everyone to know that my ultimate's got 30 seconds. If I'm playing a pivotal, and if I've got a Nocturne, I'm pinging the Nocturne ultimate. I'm pinging a Malphite, pinging the Malphite ultimate.
Dude, imagine how good that Nocturne will feel.
Yeah.
Knowing that one of his team members knows that the next player is waiting for his
how
ults.
good is that? Yeah.
Like,
it's game changing.
Do you know how that just frees
So
up that
that is
Nocturne?
a skill that I think every player at some point needs to just spend like a whole week on. Just your entire week of games, every single game you go into, you should be thinking about ultimates. Who has ultimate? Who doesn't have ultimate? Have they used their ultimate both on the enemy team and on your team?
People need to start with themselves, mate. Like the majority of
That's
people I
true,
say
yeah.
in my reviews,
they do.
they're playing Twitch or they're playing Unara and they're taking fights without ult.
Yeah, I saw Omi Bro did a Kai'Sa review with like an Emerald Kai'Sa, and this Kai'Sa was taking fights with no R.
Yeah.
Just walking at people and clicking on their head with
Yeah.
no R and then losing to dying.
And
What the
and
hell?
some champions, it's like
crazy.
you are half a champion, maybe even a third.
Yep.
A Twitch without ulti is like
Shittest
a
champ of the game.
third of a champ. Not even like, but with ulti, he's like 2 champions.
Yep.
So it's like a 10x return you
Yep.
get for waiting. Junglers are really big on this as well.
Yeah,
Like
Mumu,
Hecarim,
Nocturne,
yep.
Fiddlesticks,
Rengar.
there's so many.
They're not
Rengar.
champs without ult. So
Yeah.
if you can like, if you're below gold, this is like an LP injection hack.
Yes.
Is playing around your ulti. And if you're like Diamond Plus, thinking about your teammates' ultis is huge. I don't know what you say. I think Diamond Plus for teammates.
I actually never talk about it specifically. Like I never said it as a learning objective. I always kind of like talk about it in passing. Like I'll mention it, but I kind of, I never really feel comfortable setting it as a learning objective because I feel as a coach, it feels really underwhelming for me to set that as a learning objective. Like I want you to be aware of everyone else's ultimates. Because like, I don't know, I just don't. I'm not saying it's a bad learning objective. I think it's a great learning objective, but I was just saying, speaking transparently, I don't really set it as a learning objective. I need to reflect on why I don't.
Yeah.
I do, definitely do.
You do as a jungler.
Yeah.
I think it probably is a little bit more intuitive though as a jungler.
Yeah, like if I'm thinking about, okay, I have an Ari mid with no ults, you know, that's pretty much like sometimes that's your only tool the entire game to utilize. Because you know how I say that in mid game, you're thinking about, I get first item, what is the easiest side tower to break? How do I possibly break a tower, the first tower of the game, or get control of an area without the Ari ult?
Right.
Yeah. Do you know how many coaching sessions, you know, with Ari ult?
Well, I think it makes more sense for jungle, right? Because as a jungler, you're kind of viewing your every other champion on your team as like a tool.
Yeah, like an
Right?
extension of what you can do.
Yeah, it's like you're like a Swiss Army knife and you've got all these tools and you go, oh, that one's blunt, that one's not working, that's really sharp, I can use that one, right? You're just trying to figure out what you can use at that period of time.
Really good analogy, yeah.
Right?
The way I do it with AD carry is, I don't set it as a specific learning objective, but it's melded into a wider learning objective around saying yes or no to fights.
Yes. What makes a good fight
It's
and
a
a bad
factor,
fight?
right? Because a lot of AD carries are very bad at choosing which fights are good or bad. And who has ulti is a factor. It's down the list, I will say.
Yeah, I agree.
Numbers advantage, who's strong, who's weak.
Sums is even probably bigger. Flash.
Yeah, your own sums for sure, and your own ulti. But if you tick the boxes for like positional advantage, numbers advantage, I've got sums, I'm strong, I've got ulti, and then both teams have that, then it's like, oh shit, now we need to start thinking about the other things.
Right.
Like who else has ulti and how strong is stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know?
agreed.
All right, my last one here is bleed the enemy jungler of resources. Take in every single camp. This is only specifically when you're ahead, when you're allowed to walk into their jungle. Take every single camp you possibly can on spawn. I don't think there's any other role that can generate a big enough gap of experience or
jungles
gold
can
for
get
jungle.
really far ahead.
And because, you know, I've had that happen to me many times. Like, you know, I'm not saying that I drop a lot of farm or whatever it is. You know, I try and get camps, but I can be down 4 levels to an enemy jungler because the game just snowballs out of
Versus
control.
the
Because
Nidalees.
because if their laners are strong and get in, you know, that the thing about it, if the laners are just hard pushing, they're really far. No one on my team can test them. The jungler just free roams in
They
my
get double.
jungle.
They get 2 whole jungles.
Yeah, 2 whole jungles.
Oh, it's literally the worst feeling in all of League of Legends, I think, is when you're losing a
probably
game
is.
and you can't get your own wolves.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
get
you-
me the fuck out
and
of
you
here.
can't get,
Yeah.
and then your laners have to take the waves, right?
Yep.
So you'll get nothing.
Yeah, because as a laner, I don't give a fuck about your wolves.
Yeah.
I'm not going to escort you to your wolves.
No.
I'm going to catch my wave.
Correct.
And I might even take your wolves.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. So that is a very easy way.
That's the
to,
worst scenario to be in.
yeah.
Holy
Espe-
shit.
Imagine that playing like a champion that doesn't scale as well.
Yeah. Oh.
That's my life. That's how I've grown up.
Yeah,
right?
I see
You've
Nathan
grown
rolling,
up.
rolling
Yeah.
around on the Rek'Sai.
Rek'Sai, Jarvan, Xin Zhao.
Shit,
You have
man.
those games. It doesn't even matter how good of a player you are. You will, if you play those champs, you get those games where you will be down 4 or 5 levels.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my nightmare feel. Like I press tab and I look and I've got like a Xin Zhao or a Jarvan that's down 4 levels to like a Graves or like a Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at that. I'm
Hecarim or
like,
something.
get me the fuck out of
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
game.
you see the Graves with like 190 farm at 20, and my Rek'Sai is like 85.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh,
This game is hard.
yeah, it's toughy.
Yeah, it's almost
toughy.
impossible to win those games.
Yeah, it's
honestly.
very, very, very,
And that's what
very,
I'm
very
saying.
hard.
That's what because what I see a lot of junglers do when they get really far ahead, the worst thing you could do, they just default their camps still instead of like, because you need to prioritize their camps over your camps because the enemy jungler can't get their camps, but your camps anyway because your teams are pushed up, so you have to prioritize.
But I feel like the jungle role is so naturally snowbally.
yeah, it is
Like comparatively
It
to other
is.
roles.
It
Like when
is.
I've watched some of the coaching sessions in the Jungle Academy, like it feels like the game kind of plays itself in many regards. I'm not saying you can't lose from ahead, but it just feels the skill of translating leads as a jungler feels
It's
more
much-
intuitive
it
and more
is, that's
natural
correct, yeah.
comparatively to like a solo laner. Like I feel like you're more limited with what you can do with a lead as a solo laner or like a carry, like an AD carry. Like you just do more damage and like you kill shit, but I can't run around and get shit ton. I've only got this wave I can get. Right?
Yeah, correct,
I've only
yeah.
got this one
and
wave.
you can't necessarily deny the wave from the enemy.
Yeah, because usually you want prio.
You don't
Yeah.
really want
And
to
by
do
the time
that.
you get
Yeah,
that,
you don't
fed-
want to.
Yeah, you
but
typically
you can
want prio.
deny
You know
the
what you
experience
can
go
do
from
is
the other role.
the
Yeah.
more ahead you are, it just means the deeper up the lane you catch the wave.
In a way, it's really weird because when you're a fed laner, the way I view it is that I'm using my lead to kind of make other people's lives easier in a way.
Yeah.
Like, because if I'm getting a lot of prior and I'm hovering bot, then my bot lane can just play like a madman, or I maybe facilitate them and get a kill or whatever. It's different. Whereas a jungler, you can just absolutely get incredibly far ahead of your direct counterpart.
Yeah, because think of the alternative. You technically could, as a top laner or a mid laner, you could slow
Yeah.
push every side
Yeah,
wave.
or
and
freeze until 15 minutes.
And you could bleed your opponent off and deny them a couple of minions every wave. But then you're giving your counterpart the opportunity to run around the map like a psycho,
Yeah.
which is actually one of the best ways to play from behind.
Yep.
That's why we feel pressured to push every wave
Exactly
in the
right.
mid game, right? Because that's how the game's
Prior-
evolved. Back in
prior
the day, like
matters.
10 years ago, you could slow and freeze and stuff in the mid game because the enemies didn't know what to do.
But now you just dive. They just run around the map.
They
and
run
dive
around and
someone.
dive, yes.
Yeah.
There's like a singe top in my lane at like 4 minutes, like diving the enemy
Yep.
tower. From
And top
behind.
laners are way better at this, by the way.
They
I've
are.
noticed in solo
Yes.
queue. They're way better at translating their leads across the map.
Yep.
Are you done with your... Yeah,
I'm
that's it.
finished.
So I got one here that I want to shout out.
Turn next.
The Russian roulette.
bag of tricks. What am I getting? Let's go. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm just going to think.
I got this one from AJ, and it's really stuck with me. And it's something that I've taken not only into my own solo queue, but I talk about it a lot in my mid-game sequences in the MLA, where you see a lot of people get fed. They get their items. They're strong. But like you said, I think one of your first ones was people love farming the side lane.
Yeah.
They love getting more gold, solo XP, farm.
Yep.
And people find it really difficult to actually have their impact felt on the map. Okay. And one of the things that you need to do oftentimes is sometimes not react to that side lane and just send it. Sometimes ARAMing and picking an opportunity to group with your team and just fight is the best choice, especially if your team has engage or has go buttons. So something that the next level, so this is really interesting. It's kind of one of those like smooth brain plays or like mega mind plays, right? Where two people of a completely different skill caliber can come to the same conclusion, but for two different reasons, right? You can get one guy from the amateurs who just runs down mid and thinks, oh, I don't know what a side lane is. I'm just going to run down mid and fight. And that could work out and they could get a kill because some idiots in the side lane not pinging it or whatever with no TP, whatever. Or you got someone who's really thinking strategically and thinking, okay, they're expecting me to go to the side lane to enter this wave. I'm actually going to leave that like you did in your solo queue game recently. And you just group with your team, run straight into the enemy jungle and kill them and just ace them.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, I think there is another level to mid game macro where sure, we can play that man advantage, push and pull, like play the side wave, wait for your jungler to hover you, clean League of Legends, or sometimes you can just throw a hand grenade into the mix and just send it on your key spikes. And I think that's a highly underrated skill of a mid laner or a solo laner or anyone for that matter, to be able to know when to break that rhythm and just send it. And I think that people get so mad at their teammates. So for example, right, how many of you guys listen to this have been on the receiving end of this, where you're in the side lane and your team gets engaged upon? You're like, how could my team be that stupid to get engaged upon here? Oh my God.
Wait for me,
Wait
guys.
for me, guys. And they always view it as a fault of their teammate rather than well played of the enemy.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
And they're never the ones to do it themselves because they always gravitate to the side lane. And that is a skill. Knowing how to group, when to group, finding those angles is a skill. So I would say that's something that I especially if you're in platinum, maybe emerald and above player, you need to start considering at least being a little bit more considerate of it moving into your mid games.
You know how you said, wait for me, guys. A lot of the time, if the fight happens, you guys get caught, and then at the end, it's like, why are you guys not fighting? Like, can we just fight with me?
That's it's always the passive aggressive, like, what is it? Why can't you just wait for me or something like that? It's just some delusional comment.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, just extending on that, like, I think just not even just with your team, but just running at people more. Like, I feel like when I watch a lot of VODs in the coaching sessions, they're letting enemies push the mid wave against them when they're way stronger than them, or they're contesting a side wave versus someone and they just don't take a fight. Like, I think people need to just experiment a little bit with taking more 1v1s when you're strong. I don't know. That's just something, maybe this is an AD carry thing. I think AD carry is a really strong role at the moment. I think a lot of the champions can just 1v1. I had games today, I'm just 1v1ing a Rise in the side lane, or on the mid wave, I'm playing Yunara and the enemy is like a Varus or something. I'm just going to just have a crack. If I can land W, I'm going to run at you and try and kill you. You know, I think like those opportunities do present themselves a lot. So you're right. The run of the mindset is big. It's like, I love it. You got to know the rules, but then know when to break them.
Yeah. And that's mastery. That is mastery.
All right, so my actual last point. I'm just going to steal it from Chippies. Chippies did a YouTube video. I was referencing Chippies' YouTube videos on this podcast. Shout out to Chippies, head of Top Lane Academy. And he spoke about Baron intensity, Curtis. It's a new fundamental that Chippies has coined called Baron intensity. And the general crux is that basically every decision in the mid game, once that Baron spawns, is based around Baron, right? We all know that. Baron equals the game. You can't really end a game without Nash. You know, you pretty much have to get Baron to end the game. Unless you're doing some weird complex stuff like you were doing earlier today, like trading off whatever.
Trading off Baron for Nexus.
Yeah, it's another smooth head Megamind moment, you know? It's like Baron for Nexus. And yeah, just like having the intensity as any role in the game, just to kind of put your body around the Baron and be willing to go quickly when enemies show elsewhere, constantly just like viewing Baron as the goal. I feel like people, a lot of the time they get lost in the source in the mid game. They see all this complex stuff, like all these lane assignments. There's all these threats. There's these dragons spawning every so often. Where's my jungle and support are linking up and going into quadrants. All this shit's happening. But at the end of the day, if you can just kind of turn the game into, okay, one of us is going to get Baron and then we're going to push, right? If you could just be the team that is getting the Baron, you can actually win a lot of mid games. So I've just had a lot of success with this, just like being around Baron, even just pinging the Baron every so often in the game.
Get people to wake up a little bit. It's
like,
hey guys,
the Nash is up, you know? Oh, the enemy top laner is pinned. My top laner is coming out of base. Could I just ping Baron right now?
Now that you mention it, actually, I see a lot of reviews where people just ace them and don't do Baron.
Yeah.
Or kill 3 people, don't do Baron. Like, I love that actually term. I'm going to steal that
Baron
from
intensity.
the Baron intensity, because you're right. Everything in that post 20 minutes does revolve around the Baron. And the millisecond, literally the millisecond I know that the fight is won, I'm already pinging the Baron or making a decision. Are we doing this Baron? Or are we not? And if we're not doing the Baron, we need to have an obvious answer. Like, are we getting waves, or what are we doing?
I was thinking of the game I was watching you two play where Nathan's on the Volibear and you guys like aced Baron stuff. Do you remember this? Baron was up and you just went bot.
I literally was saying, can we end the game, or should we do Baron or something like that?
Yeah, and Curtis was like Baron, and you were like end the game. It was actually the exact situation. Maybe you forget.
And I said, I forgot. What did I say? I said
you were trying
Baron.
to get everyone to do Baron, and Nathan was trying to end bot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's very common in
Low
most
Baron
games.
intensity.
I always say Baron.
There you go.
Yeah,
No, but that was
okay.
the right call for sure. I was sort of just greeting for another way.
Nathan was no, you were very fed Volibear.
I was fed.
You
I
were
was-
scooping up that way.
yeah.
That was good. So yeah, there we go. Baron intensity.
All right. Bootcamp, WTL Bootcamp number 9 is going to be
Speaking of intensity.
Yes. April 10th. So it starts on the Friday night, American time. Will end on very late Sunday morning, American time. We call this the most fun improvement event. Obviously, we want people who, to join the bootcamp if you're quite serious in solo queue. If you want to come in the boot camp and learn a champion, sure, you can do that as well. But you really want, if you're going to get more value out of the boot camp, you've actually come, prepare with a champion. You really want to take your champion mastery to the next level. The way that it works is that you get 3 games coached, mostly going to be post VOD reviews. We might swivel some live coaching in there as well. It'll be either one of the coaches with us or most likely one of our other WTL trained coaches. And we have 14 block times. It'll be on the website page. It'll be linked below. You can check which times are available. Tickets available now as this podcast is out. Anything else to say for the bootcamp guys this weekend?
No, it's very simple. You play one game, you get coaching. You play another game, you get coaching. You play another game, you get coaching. You walk away a better player.
Yep, you'll have clear focus, clear learning objectives, and it's a really great way to streamline your journey.
I might get Charlie to chuck up a bunch of testimonials on the screen here, but people love this event. We have a really good time.
What bootcamp is this? What are we
Number
up to?
9.
Number 9.
So we've almost been running them for a year. About every 4 to 6 weeks, we sort of run a boot camp.
Nice.
So it's been almost going to hit the double digits mark.
Wow. See you there, guys.
See you guys there. So link in the description below. So next up, tilting.
Love tilt. No, I'm kidding.
Toolkits to deal with tilting. So what do we got?
Okay, so I just want to start high level, right? Like tilt is again, we love umbrella terms in League of Legends in the League ecosphere, right? Mid game, tilt, these very big broad terms. Tilt. Let's just simplify it for this thing. This is gonna be a very all encompassing term, right? Anytime that you feel frustrated to the point where. Or any negative emotion to the point where you're not able to express your best self, right?
Yep.
You're now compromised, if you will,
It
right?
affects your decision making.
Yep, exactly right. And so, I think first things first, the skill that a lot of people need to develop is an awareness of, am I actually tilted? And I think, that sounds incredibly obvious, but you'd be surprised at how many people continue to play games and continue to, quote unquote, tilt queue. And self-sabotage. So I think just high level, before we even get into the advice of dealing with tilt, if you are that person that is susceptible to griefing your blocks and do these tilt sprees, developing that that awareness of, okay, what are your triggers? What is actually fundamentally bothering you? And rather than just trudging through the mud and trying to play more games and get through it, take a break, get off the goddamn PC and do a little bit of reflection to see where that tilt started. So you can actually get a bit of a grip on what the hell is actually going on.
I'm going to go a bit of a wild card here with the whole tilting thing.
Whoa.
I think
Tilt's good.
a lot of the tilt actually stems from people not playing high intensity.
Interesting. Elaborate, Nathan.
Especially for me. I mean, obviously, people know myself and us on this podcast, so we have a lot of high expectations for ourselves. We might get really frustrated when we're not playing our best, or we know we're not focused and we're tilted at ourselves.
Yeah.
But even I will tilt way less, going back to the Nathan Mott meme of sitting in my chair properly, doing the keyboard.
No, you know what I want to do? I want to get a little doll. We should get a miniature, and you
That's
can,
an awesome
you
idea.
can push it into place, the back and
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually great.
And have a mini keyboard and a mouse. I cannot tilt if I'm in that position. So people might be saying, how could you never be in that position? Well, what happens is I will start going like this, tilting. So I can start in that position.
Yes.
But I'll start, losing confidence when it start tilting. But I can't snap myself out of it until the next game.
Isn't it those memes where people as they're kind of playing worse and worse and they're more tilted, they're getting deeper and deeper into the chair, and by the end of their block, they're lying down.
Yep. Tyler wanting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm literally convinced. I'm convinced I've never tilted in that position.
No,
But
but
it's quite
I
funny
think,
because you tilt your keyboard.
Yeah. So it's I'm
irony
sort of a
there.
reverse
bit of irony
psychology.
there.
Yeah.
No, but I think, Nathan, you're conflating things. I think what that is that, think about it, when you're not tilted, you will occupy this position, and when you know what I mean?
No, but
Isn't that-
no? Because a lot of the time I get into that position after I'm I got to
It's
wake
like a
up,
wake-up
a
thing.
focus,
That's
just
a good
high
point, yeah,
intensity.
yeah.
So it could be that you've done.
That's the thing that triggers it a lot of the time.
Yeah, but that
it just
indicates,
could be a cue. It could
it
be
indicates awareness of what's going on.
It could be a
right?
cue, right? Like a physical
Yeah.
cue. You know how there's that book Atomic Habits, and it talks about physical cues. Like when you do a particular task, you can kind of associate a physical cue with a particular like, let's say activity or something,
Yep.
right? It's just, I think you're doing that where it's like, okay, well, like every time I want to stop tilting, if I get into a right posture, then it's like, you know, it's like
It's
a cue.
associative.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes
associative. It's like,
sense.
what's it that we learned in high school, like Skinner's dog or some shit with like in psychology,
Whoa.
where like they train an animal in a particular way by if every time they like press
Pavlov's dog.
Pavlov's dog, yeah.
Oh, so what the hell is
Remember
that?
that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pavlov's
I think
dog,
that's kind of
yes.
what you've done. You've done like
It's all about reward structures. Pavlov
Yeah.
is like if you feed a dog for doing a specific act, it's more likely to repeat that act.
yeah,
It's
exactly
gonna
right.
replicate in
Positive
Pavlov's,
reinforcement and
But you know, the funny thing is, it's like this psychology thing where
Skinner's
or-
dogs.
or-
Those Simpsons. Sorry, Nathan, what are you saying?
when I'm highly confident,
Yeah.
I'll just like piss around. Like I think I'm like the
Yeah,
beast,
yeah,
right? So I'll
yeah.
have bad posture.
yeah, right.
And like I'm winning games, like I win games with that, right? But
Yeah,
but then when
fair.
I start losing games, I need to get into it. So it's this constant cycle. So I think I'm God's greatest gift to the game.
So like, so I could theoretically look at you while playing a game of League of
Yeah.
Legends and know.
yeah.
And that's actually true. When we look at Nathan play League, you can tell
Yeah.
if he's focused in that game or not. Because
that's
sometimes
true.
he's like fucking like, you know, he's like leaning off to the side.
He's got
like-
something on the other screen.
Yeah, he's like
literally
looking-
doing admin work
yeah,
on the
I
other
don't know what-
screen.
You can
Like-
actually tell. It actually does
Yeah,
make sense.
it does make
But
sense.
you know when
no,
he has the admin work up is when he's stomping the game.
Yeah.
It's when he's crushing the
No,
game.
and then he always slumps. He like puts his
Yeah, he just like-
leg up basically. Because he used to
100%.
do that when you played WoW
That's
back
right,
in the day.
correct,
You know,
yeah.
he used
I
to play
had the full-
WoW with his foot
feet
on the fucking desk.
Yeah,
That's
on the
awesome.
desk. Yeah.
That's so good.
Literally like
I can see like it's unbelievable.
Yeah, Nathan's a hardcore gamer. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then like, and then what will happen is I'll lose that game.
Yes.
So I can win those a lot
Yes,
of the
you
time
can,
because
yes.
I have so much muscle memory at closing out games. But yeah, but then that's when I start tilting. But then I realize I'm tilting because I'm not playing with high intensity. If I play with
Interesting.
high intensity and shit's happening and it's just like, I'm not
You're
as
kind of
affected by that.
invincible, right? No matter
Yeah.
what happens in that state, it's like, okay, well, I've contributed to that in some way, or it doesn't matter. I've expressed my best self,
Yeah,
so it doesn't
I've
matter.
busted my balls this game,
Because
so it's fine.
I think that is the key here, right? And I think
Yeah.
I always say this, the number one form of tilt is again, it's like expectations. So when you're untiltable, Nathan, the reason you're untiltable is that you know every single thing that you've done in the Rift at that moment is your absolute limit. That is your level of play.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, you can't be upset about it or angry about it because it is what it is, right? But I think a lot of people, they trick themselves. They think if they lose a game or something goes wrong, they trick themselves into thinking that this isn't their level of play. You know what I mean? Like they think that they expect more of themselves. They think that I should be better than this. I can be better than this. And that bothers them. That causes a whole host of problems. I think expectations and unmanaged expectations, unrealistic expectations are a massive problem.
I think it comes from inconsistency as well then, because if you're constantly thinking that you can achieve this ceiling, but you're playing at your floor, that's obviously going to make you upset because you know that you're capable of more. So that's why people who kind of make a lot of like surface level errors, probably because of intensity again, is why they get tilted.
Well, I think it's more complex than that, Charles, because I think just because you play one game well, are they really playing that game well? Like, couldn't they just got lucky? Like, I think more often than not, the average player, they conflate just having a game where the stars aligned with them
correct.
just playing really, really well.
Yeah, it's all about perception. I'm speaking from their perspective.
Perception,
Yes,
perception.
yes.
But in reality, if they start to view it as like a bell curve,
Yep.
right, and that is all encompassing their LP, and just because they do maybe one or two things right doesn't mean that's their level per se. Your level is equally down here and up here. It's like it's both. Rather than just one or the
Yeah,
other.
expectations is a really good point because people might think of that as like, okay, I'm going to do what Nathan's going to do. They might listen to this podcast. I'm going to have perfect posture, tilt my keyboard, really grip the mouse.
Yeah.
And then now they've raised the expectation. I'm going to win the
Yes.
game now.
And then they lose, and then they think,
Yeah, no, that's not what it does.
No.
What it does is it allows you to play higher up your bell curve more frequently.
yeah, express your level, whatever that level is.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't expect to win at all when
No, but
I do that.
you'll improve faster.
Yeah, I'm either improving, like I'm like locked in, like I'm making decisions in the game, like going back to your mid-game principle of like communication, I'm making calls and losing my team, the game
On
from
your
those
terms.
calls on my terms, but I'm learning faster than everyone else in the game.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, exactly right. But in terms of tilt toolkit, I always say that, step number one is, I would say first and foremost, what you said actually earlier on, which is distracting yourself. That is the number one way to even for me to this day. If I'm pissed off, something doesn't go my way, and I sometimes a frustrating thing happens. my mind instantly goes to how can I distract myself in this moment with something productive to prevent myself from dwelling on this bullshit. So someone's AFKing, running down a lane, whatever, or just a really, really unfortunate event happens. I'm thinking, okay, what's my win condition? What's my role in this game? When am I next spike? What's the next dragon? What am I going to do about it? I'm constantly thinking about something to distract me from that bullshit. And the more you can prevent yourself from dwelling on those, that unfortunate thing, the faster you're going to let go, refocus, and I can maybe readdress that later. But in the game, I just need to play. I just need to try my best to win.
Yeah, I think that kind of aligns with something that I've been saying in the office a fair bit, which is the games are turning into pissbangers. It's something I've been saying a lot recently. And the reason I say that is because that's my acknowledgement. Okay, this game has kind of not gone the best way. It's kind of trains are derailed a bit, but you know what? I thrive in the pissbanger. Yeah. You know what?
So define what a pissbanger is, Charles, for the audience.
It's like, I don't know, the game's going well, and then the train slowly derails. We'll get
and the game's getting to 30, 40, like 30, 35 minutes. Long games.
They're slugfest
like
games.
back and forth, throw into throw.
What have I been saying? Like, when we like defend our Nexus successfully, what do I say?
The game continues.
The game continues.
Yeah.
Just lock back in on it. The game continues.
Because everything's the game's over.
Yeah, I'm literally sitting there waiting for my Nexus to die. Someone defends. I sit back up. All right, game continues. Locking back in.
Yeah.
And I'll win those games. I win those games.
Everyone doesn't even care about the outcome of that game. They just want to get out of the game and move. That's not a piss bang,
Yeah. So going into the game with the
I hate those games.
Yeah.
With the I have to teach because a lot of I mean, again, from my perspective as an AD carry,
it's a waste. The whole mid game, from 30 minutes onwards, like in those games.
No, it's execution practice.
But like the execution is so weird in those games. Like
AD carry, I'm gonna play fights.
So yeah, like Charles thrives in the piss bangs.
Because I do win a lot of piss bangers. I win most piss bangers because it's just playing fights. And my confidence doesn't come from the same place your confidence comes from in the game. It doesn't come from my ability to like 40 chest the enemy with lane assignment. It comes from the ability to kill people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and that's inherent to my role. So it has to be that way.
You said that, it's interesting you said you think piss bangs start at 30 minutes. There's a specific time where it happens, and I've got it into a science. 27 minutes in the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Because
you've got Baron, and you haven't ended off the first Baron.
And the second
Baron's coming up.
Yeah.
And then now it's a shit because the game, everyone's got items.
Yeah.
So
Someone has 3 dragons. Probably.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
If you guys look at when the game starts to devolve and that team hasn't closed out, it's 27 minutes, I guarantee you.
Yes.
Even like more specific, 27:30.
Okay, but bringing it back to the topic at hand over tilt, what I literally tell myself, and because we're playing solo queue out loud, I'll say it out loud to Nathan sometimes. I'll say, all right, well, this game's a bit fucked, whatever, I'm going to drag it out into a piss banger, is what I say. I'm going to drag this bitch out to a piss banger, and then I'll just try and carry later. And I think that's just such a positive mindset to have.
Yeah, that's your toolkit.
So instead of moping, like, oh no, we're going to have to play from behind, I'm like, all right, piss banger it up, you know?
Yeah, it makes it like a fun activity.
It does.
It's like because you're embracing the reality.
It's like a challenge,
Yep. Well, whereas the alternative would be typing in chat, blaming your XY.
Yeah, like, why didn't we snowball? We should have run there, blah, blah,
Dwelling
blah.
on the past, essentially.
Correct.
Dwelling on the past, complaining about the quality of the game or whatever the hell it might be.
Yeah.
Yep. Love it.
And that's especially useful at the moment where in Apex tiers, the game matchmaking is a bit skew-iffed at the moment sometimes. And there are a variety of people in the game, so there are more piss bangers as well. So I think it's just important right now to be able to do that.
I think it's a great skill set to have in all ranks.
Yeah, no, for sure.
100%. Because especially in the lower elo games as well, the games are naturally going to go maybe a little bit longer, not going to
think about how many people, like Nathan said, just check out later on. If you can scale up with your intensity instead of down with your intensity, imagine how powerful that is. Very powerful.
Just on the tilt topic as well, I feel as though, tilt is one of those things that I think that it can come from so many places, and I think it's not helpful to talk about tilt in generalities. Like what we've been talking about here is we're talking about like Band-Aid solutions. Like we're just slapping on piss banger solutions or whatever.
It's
like,
ways to cope with it.
They're coping mechanisms.
Yes.
You're not really addressing the underlying thing. And I think a lot of people are looking for these Band-Aids, and these work, what we've just said. They're great, but they're fundamentally unsustainable, right? Because I view it as like the pressure will be building, right? It's like there's like a jug that's boiling. Right?
Well, I think it's because I don't have a systemic tilting problem.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have a tilt problem, but the average person that...
They might. So they might need a more... deeper solution. Sorry.
Exactly right. Yeah. So you don't really have that problem where like you've got a fundamentally broken view of the game or you've got major stage 4 issues. You're just having fun and you're enjoying the game and you have a growth mindset.
And frustrating things occur.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yes.
That's naturally inbuilt in any competitive thing. If you are frustrated and that shows you care.
Yeah.
So it's important to differentiate between like frustration and care versus like fundamental massive stage 4 issues, right?
Good point.
In which case that's again dysfunctional, you're sabotaging games, you're abusing other people, yada yada yada, right? So I think that people got to realize that, okay, if I have a fundamental stage 4 issue or like a tilt problem, my answer to that is not going to come in game. It's going to come from out of game. And so like a lot of people are looking for that convenient answer, that like little quip, that little like TikTok thing or the keyboard swivel, as Nathan would call it, or the posture. None of that is going to fix your problem. Outside of just being honest with what is fundamentally causing that frustration for you? Is it, and then you have to it has to be boring. You have to go to that moment. It's like, okay, I lost the plot here when my jungler took that wave. Well, why did that bother you so much?
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself. Why? Like I literally had a guy in my game today come mid and take like 3 waves, and we just joined mid for 3 waves. I have no idea why he did that. He was just pissed for whatever reason, and I just stayed mid, and we won that game in 25 minutes. I didn't, and so I could like, for some people, if that happened, they would be writing up a paragraph in the league Discord. They would lose their fucking mind. They would be tilt queuing. They would sabotage that game to get back at that guy.
They would, yes.
And why? And then you'd be honest, there could be 17 different reasons for that, right? So I guess like what I'm trying to get at is stop trying to generalize the advice, and you have to be personal. You have to be honest with yourself and start there. And once you start there, it will start to become clear. And you'll be able to make progress. You will never make progress until you're brutally honest with yourself.
So to put that practically, we want to identify the trigger in the game. We want to ask why again, and then keep asking why until it makes bloody sense.
Yep. And it could be something really personal. Like it could be the fact that, you know what, my friend my friend really thinks that I should be able to get diamond in the next 3 weeks. And I'm now in platinum 4. I'm so far away. I don't think I can do that. And this idiot, I felt like this idiot was the reason I was ruining my game. But in reality, I'm just angry at myself because I know that I can't get there and blah, 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 blah. Right? But you're not going to be able to even get to that.
Yeah.
And that means the root cause of the problem would be this bullshit expectations that you set in yourself, which is now completely sabotaging your relationship with the game.
Yep.
That's why'd you make that deal? Or you need to have that conversation with your friend or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Right? So it can go that deep. Some people it's not that deep. Other people it is. Yeah.
What?
Anything else?
Thoughts on tilt?
Nope.
I'm
just.
I sort of play solo.
Yeah.
Are we moving on to this? Can we move on to this other post, Nathan? This Rachel email.
Yep. We sure
Okay,
can.
so I'm
Curtis
gonna take this one over. So
this is you got a personal email.
personal email. This person just reached Challenger.
Curtis's mailbag.
Yeah, this is my mailbag for a second. They reached Challenger in March for the first time. They were Grandmaster the entirety of last season. And basically, just wanted to share a few interesting observations. And by the way, I've had a few people reach out to me. The Master Tier Exposed video that I did in my YouTube has really helped a lot of Master Tier players specifically kind of overcome some challenges. So if you are an Apex Tier player or Master Tier player that is struggling, check it out on my YouTube. Now, the first thing they said was playing against apathetic players. In Masters ELO, you have a 5 out of 10 chance, or 50% chance, versus getting matched up against someone that is just there to play their decay games. So, and I actually kind of resonate with this. I think there's a lot of low Master Tier players that will kind of just play very casually. They're not really planning on getting Grandmaster. They're just kind of playing for the sake of not decaying / having a bit of fun. And so you will get a lot of those kind of, not necessarily free win games, but easier games, right? And they said, getting free wins, quote unquote, free wins off these players, even if you have a mindset for improvement, acts like a subtle stress release. This is because when life gets in the way, you have a bad day at work, we are all humans, the dopamine releases from getting an easy win sometimes really makes you happier. This simply doesn't happen in Challenger. While there are Challenger players that only play decays, they play at such a high level of intensity that it's not possible to get a free win from them. This is different from any low GM and below. You can get free wins, which lowers stress and pressure. Challenger is the only ELO where this occurs substantially less. So basically saying their observation was that there are no free wins in Challenger anymore. Every game you're going to sweat for it. Every game is going to be, you know, as Charles called it, a piss banger of a game. You're going to have to lock in and really try and sweat for that win. Whereas in Master Tier, maybe that's... Do you guys agree? Resonate with that? No, or not really?
I can speak from the Master Tier experience. Yeah, there's heaps of free wins.
Yep.
Heaps.
Nathan?
I think that
I'm giving people free wins as well. I went 0-10 on Oriana last week. Free win for the enemy team. You know.
I can't say
Donation.
no because the way that I need to win games because I'm not that good at fighting and that narrative, the classic narrative, I'm not good at fighting and I play early game champions. I have to sweat.
Right.
for
You don't
every
feel
game.
like you
Yeah.
don't feel like any game is a free win.
No, I have to sweat in every game. Even if I was smurfing, I would need to sweat.
Fair enough. All right. Secondly, I'm just going to ignore that, Nathan.
That's
'cause
how
you just-
Nathan plays. Nathan's
Yeah,
just very
that's just
obscure.
Nathan. Yep. Second one.
Just like the way he kind of spoke there and just like droning on a little bit. You know, sorry. I'm sorry. YouTube comments. I said I wouldn't say anything bad about Nathan, but I couldn't not. I couldn't
It's
not
fine.
do it.
We love bullying Nathan. It's part of the podcast.
Yeah, it's part of the
Bit of
dynamic.
personality. Bit of character building.
It's all right, Charles. We'll try next time.
We'll try again next time. Yeah.
Secondly, avoiding players I dislike. In Masters Elo, if I really don't like playing with someone after the game, I can wait 5 minutes before popping, and it's insanely unlikely that I'll get the same people again. This is not the case in Challenger. By simply not playing with a player I dislike, it acts as a stress release that I'm grateful for. But this doesn't happen in Challenger. I have to play with the same people again who may or may not decide to soft end me. I realize in Challenger, the brutal reality is that in the most extreme of extreme elos, the players who are there playing 20 games a day do not care, and some embrace their role as a gatekeeper. Even if there are wannabe players like this in Master Tier, they are easy to avoid, easy to beat, and you won't really have to play with them. So, bit of an odd take. I haven't really...
Well, streamer mode just solves that
Streamer mode
immediately.
solves that for the most part. I mean, obviously they resonate with this. They wrote this in the email. I'm
interested that both comments so far are based on the idea of stress. We'll see if that continues.
Yeah. Third one, I realized that there is no end game. After playing against the rank 1 challenger and winning in the best game I ever played, I realized there is no end. No credits roll, the LP threshold goes up, and I have to beat that rank 1 player again tomorrow, again and again and again if I want to keep getting challenger. And it made me realize why I actually like playing the game. And it's to get into my flow state. I realized rank doesn't make a difference, challenger or master tier. As long as I don't perform badly, I can always get to a stage of the game where I can play the play style that I want to and muster up an above 50% win rate. And I'm grateful it's easier to do that in Masters. And so basically, I think what they're trying to get across here is that like, after they beat the rank 1 player and they got challenger, it's just another day in the office.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's true. Like, you don't just, it's not like the credits roll out and congratulations, roll out the red carpet. You've got it. You've won. You beat the game. The game is just going to be there. People are going to be slowly chipping away, getting better every day. And at the end of the day, this is where you really got to start. And we try to remind everyone on the podcast, what is your why? What do you enjoy about League of Legends? And it sounded like for her, she's now painfully aware or is really aware to her that the reason she plays League and loves League is to enter the flow state. And it took her that long probably to realize that.
Yeah, it can be really tough for some people. I mean, this is quite prolific in athletes as well. It's called summit syndrome, right? Where you reach for top and then you don't know what to do. A League of Legends example about this, I remember there's a documentary, maybe not a full documentary, but a short piece from like 10 years ago with Crown from Samsung.
Yeah, I remember that.
After he won, and it was an interview, a conversation between him and CoreJJ.
He won Worlds.
Crown won Worlds.
Yeah. With Samsung in
with Samsung,
2014.
No, that was Porn.
Oh, sorry, 2015.
Oh, yeah, I remember that was Samsung White, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2018 when Samsung won, I think, or 2017, one of those 2 years. They beat SKT 3-0.
Samsung Blue, Samsung White. There was two, right? They had two Samsung teams.
Samsung White won Worlds in 2014.
Yeah.
That was the Imp, Mata, Dandy, Porn, and Looper roster.
All I remember is Twitch, Imp's Twitch.
Imp's Twitch, yeah, with the glasses. What the fuck was I saying?
CoreJJ and
I just said
Crown and CoreJJ.
Yeah, so
That
Crown won Worlds, and for want of a better word, he lost his marbles. He didn't really know where to go in his career. He played for a little bit. I think he went to America for a split and then just fizzled, right? Whereas CoreJJ, he like fully rebuilt himself as like a leader, moved to America, made a full-time career for himself, got like a full green card, has like a full career out of this. And I'm pretty sure CoreJJ still plays, right?
Yeah,
And
he's
the
still a professional
LCS,
player,
right?
yeah. Another 8-year career.
And he had a why, right? Where Crown didn't really have a why as to why he played. So again, everyone has that at some point in their career, whether it be in Master Tier, Challenger, or winning Worlds, So it's, very, very important because it can be very detrimental if you don't know. Because like one of the most hollow feelings, it sounded like in that piece, which I might revisit. I'll try and link it in the description. is imagine if you played that game versus the rank 1 player and then didn't have that level of introspection, felt the hollow feeling, and then were like, holy shit, what was this all for? You know, that's the worst case scenario.
Yep.
So it sounds like this person was at least doing some thinking before that point, so they didn't like implode once they got there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a really glad you raised that, Charles. I think all of us need to be aware. What do we want to get out of our time? Like, is it a competitive outlet? Or we want to enter flow state? Like being better so you can compete with your friends or whatever. It doesn't really matter what the reason is. You just got to have a why, right? So as long as you're not doing it out of addiction, that's the most important thing. All right, I'm gonna again steal the next one, Nathan. We're moving on to Skool.
Yeah, you run the Skool community these
Is that
days.
okay with you, Nathan?
Yeah.
Boss man? All right. So this one, Skool post of the week from Elric. Do Challenger and Grandmaster players throw leads?
Oh, I think I saw this post.
Good post.
Yeah,
Great
really
question.
good post.
I'm an Emerald player, and I played a game yesterday which looked completely lost around the 13-minute mark, but the enemy went on to make some disgustingly egregious errors,
Sounds like a piss banger.
throw away their lead, and allowed me to get really strong and carry the game, which got me thinking, when does this stop? At what rank does a lead get held, capitalized on, and not thrown? And if I had to guess, I would assume that Challenger and Grandmaster players do throw leads, but simply far less frequently than their low elo counterparts. Does that seem right? Now, I come up with an interesting response. I want to pose this out there to you guys. I said this. I wouldn't really use the word throw leads to Grandmaster Plus. It's usually that the enemy are better at making them sweat for wins and make more creative comebacks. For example, they're more willing to trade off neutrals that they can't contest. They make creative tempo plays. They make sacrifices to generate tempo. They understand win cons and they roll in a comp such that they can overcome leads. So yeah, I guess they do kind of throw leads, but it's not usually for the same reason you would see traditionally in other ranks. That's kind of what I said. And there was actually, one other comment, a response to that from Nathan. He said, not you, Nathan, another Nathan. That's actually how it is in the Apex tier of StarCraft 2 as well. A Grandmaster, which is the highest rank in StarCraft 2, will run circles around an even slightly worse player in their sleep. They will not make mistakes unless you force them to, and players at that level are resilient, so you have to get very creative with your game plan to make a dent. At that level of play, how the game looks and plays changes quite a bit because there's not an execution test simulator anymore. So it really comes down to mental stack, right? A mental stack overload. I think that's what the Grandmaster and Challenger mistakes are made. It's typically mental stack overload. They're thinking about one thing, and you got to figure out a way to kind of combat that mental stack. So what do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I understand the approach you're saying. It's like, it's a different type of throw.
Different type of throw.
But I still, a throw's a throw in my eyes. Like, and I think that the StarCraft analogy just doesn't apply to
It's a bit different
because of the nature of the scaling of some champs versus others. It's like because I've just thrown so many games in League of Legends at the highest level that it's just impossible. I think it's generally the equal.
Yeah, why?
Give me some examples. When you throw a game,
And what do you define as a throw?
1,000 LP, what is that?
Throw, like, you have 16 kills to 6. You've got like a 5,000 plus gold lead. Like, you got 3 dragons, and then, some people get caught or whatever. Then you lose their dragon soul, and then, another fight happens, and then now you lose the baron.
But what triggers the throw?
Yeah, what triggers the throw? What did you do?
part
How
does
did
it
you
throw?
how did you throw the game?
Sticking my neck out,
Yeah.
just overreaching. And I say that for everyone. For there's certain comps or whatever that will just outscale, and then it's just a throw.
So to add on to that, I think to maybe put it in some perspective, the 2 bigger reasons that I see people throw games, this is kind of regardless of rank, and I think this stops happening at a certain point, but I can't comment too much. Laziness, hubris, and arrogance. These are the reasons why people throw games.
I think that's every rank.
And you think that happens up until challenge?
Yes.
Those
are core. Goes back to my mid-game conversation.
Yeah.
Why it doesn't matter what you are, where you are, whatever it is. These are core flaws in humans that everyone faces.
Right. Yeah, because I think that it's more exacerbated the lower down the ladder you go. Because I think a big part of climbing is kind of getting over those impulses, right? Like, that when you're playing your best League of Legends, you don't take your foot off the gas when you're winning. You put it down harder. You try harder.
That's right.
The human nature is to, again, Nathan, feet on the desk mod, when you're winning, start tapping out, getting complacent. But when I think of the word throw, I think of complacency and I think of arrogance.
Yes.
And like
overreaching.
Yeah, but it's not about level of play, is it? It's actually about, it contributes to your level of play, I guess, your average level of play. but it's more about your emotional regulation, I guess. That's what I view a throw as.
So in a way, actually, now that we're speaking about this out loud, I would argue that throwing is probably more prevalent maybe in high elo brackets than low elo, because
you know
low elo
why?
it's probably just raw level of play. They genuinely don't know how to close out a game cleanly.
Because people have so many narratives and people know that they like give up because the game's in a certain state or something like that, you know, or like, you know, Cassidy or Lulu.
But
you
just
know.
practically, I would just say, just anecdotally, if we're talking a full challenger lobby, the games aren't thrown. Just straight. Like that just doesn't, I've come to challenge the thing about Nathan for like 12, 13 seasons, okay? 12 seasons. And if I'm in a full challenger lobby, it's very, very, very rare that a game is lost because a team is like just thrown. They either got outplayed, they just genuinely got outplayed, or that was just that, or that's that. One team won.
I can see that for sure because that's Nathan Mott's not in your game.
What does that mean? What do I do with that information?
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Just let it exist in the world. It's
That's right.
fantastic.
Because I can always throw a game. That's the takeaway of this podcast.
Yeah.
I've just sweat.
Nathan's got an extra, you know, his tilted keyboard. He's got another button next to it.
I have weights when I play League of
Throws
Legends,
on.
Curtis. I have genuine weights.
I don't
on
know.
me.
I don't really know how to comprehend that information.
Okay,
It's
so I've seen
interesting.
Nathan's obviously one GLB. I've seen Nathan do some egregious things even this week. Like Nathan will play a team fight like he memes on his skirmishing. His skirmishing's actually quite clean. Like, and then he'll tunnel forward as Rek'Sai a minute later and just ruin the game. Like, what is that?
No, but okay, I'm just gonna play devil advocate here.
Yeah, I feel like that challenger players don't have that level of inconsistency.
No, I'm not
Like,
gonna throw Nathan under the bus, and I mean this in this like the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
You just peak challenger. Like,
yeah.
you're at the bottom
I
of
know,
challenger.
Correct. Yes, I've literally
Right?
said
So
that
if
for
I'm
Charles.
thinking of a challenger lobby, I'm not thinking
Yeah,
of like
yeah,
the rank
high challenger,
49,
yeah,
48, 47. I'm thinking like there's going to be...
Well, you say most servers have 300.
No, but it's all
challenger players,
relative.
yeah.
It
Yeah, it's
doesn't
all
matter. It's all
relative,
relative.
so
It's
yeah.
the
50,
same.
top
Whether
50,
it's 50 in OS or 200 or whatever in others.
So I guess
My point being is
yeah.
you're not a long-term
Challenger
hardcore
player,
challenger player. You've
correct,
been
yeah.
challenger like once or twice.
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, yeah, back when
8 years, right?
in the Udyr days, would you throw games?
No.
No, there you go.
that's my point. I don't really view you as like you are challenger, but I don't really view, like, I look at a challenger.
Yeah, that's what I'm
player.
saying. I'm not
You're
in
not
those
really in that
games.
same
Yeah, that's
category.
correct. That's what I mean.
So like, if for this question, if I'm going to be honest,
Yeah, you're correct.
I don't think in a challenger, in a
That's
challenger.
why he said, because Nathan's Mott's not
Yeah,
in your game.
sure,
That's
whatever.
what I mean. That was his way
But
of
my
answering
point being,
that question.
so to answer the question, in GM games, yes, you will. I think you do probably see a lot more throws in GM games than you would a challenger game. And a true challenger lobby, I don't think you do. But then again, this ties into a high level discussion. Is a throw? You've got two different types of throws. You've got what you were saying, a throw from arrogance. What is it?
Arrogance, laziness,
And hubris, right?
Yeah.
That's like the emotional stage 4 shit.
Yep.
And then you've got throw because that's their level of play. They
Yep.
just don't know how to end the game.
They called a bad Baron. They fucked up a lane assignment.
Yep.
And they gave Baron by accident.
That's their level of play.
Yeah.
They're playing with intensity.
Yep.
They just don't know how to end the game.
Yeah.
Right. So what is that? So you know what I'm getting at? What is a throw? Which one could you even? Is that even a throw? I mean, theoretically, it's a throw in the sense that like, but you were ahead. But were you even really that ahead in the first place? If you don't have the level of play to translate the lead.
Well, I guess that's
That's
the,
I guess
that's the
philosophical
story
question.
of Master Tier, I guess, because in Master Tier, in mid game, people have so many holes in their
Yeah.
play that when games are thrown, it's equally likely to be because of emotional regulation and lack of understanding.
And they go hand in hand. So I'm gonna come up with a YouTube video on this, but there's a sequence I remember, and when I play in Master Tier lobbies, you get these players, and what happens is that they don't know how to end the game, right? So when one negative event happens in their mind, they shift blame to something,
Yeah.
and then because their mind is kind of compromised, they don't know how to win the game. They just check out.
Yeah.
And in a way, they just enter self-sabotaging mode. It's like, I can't fucking win this game. That's it. Just get out of this. Move on, right? Because they don't know how to end the game, right? So are they really throwing that game because of, it's both. There is, I guess, they're emotionally compromised, but
They don't know how.
they
Anyway,
don't know how
so
to win the game.
Wouldn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. So it's a combination of both. And a lot of throws, I would say, in the higher low brackets are probably like Master Tier players, are probably a combination of both. GM, probably a little less skill, but more like stage 4.
yeah.
And in the low, if we're talking like diamond below, it's probably just level of play.
Probably.
And I'm not, and stage 4, obviously, but maybe more level of play.
So Eric actually commented on here saying, I reached D1 today and proceeded to demote to Diamond 2 straight after by throwing leads in every single game. Even when I won, I threw leads.
Wow. It's so easy. I think this is a really good topic to bring up as well, because something that we've spoken a lot about mid-game today, a lot about tilt. Let's just remind everyone, the game's very difficult. When we say throw a game, we're saying it like, oh, you should have won, mate. It's like, fuck no. No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't, actually.
Translating leads not easy.
It's the hardest thing. I think it's the hardest thing in the game. It's so difficult. Like mid-game is a slog.
If it was really easy to close out games and it was like, you know, everyone was able to like you didn't even need laziness or whatever, it was just that easy.
Yeah.
Then League would be a terrible game.
It'd be terrible. Everyone would just play early game champs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mid-game is where the beauty appears.
Yeah.
And where it's like me versus them, and like it happens in the brain.
You know, I want to use a really specific example that I think it poses this conundrum beautifully, right? People say, I always lose to Cassidon. I always throw into a Cassidon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that is the game.
It's the translation of I don't know how to
Think
close
about
out a game.
Exactly right. You're not throwing.
No.
Yeah.
That is the game. You know?
The clock's ticking. You lost to the clock, mate.
Exactly
You lost
right.
to the buzzer.
You didn't throw. That is
No.
the game.
Yes.
Right? So like, that's a skill.
That's awesome as well, because when people say, I don't know if you guys feel this as well, they bring a VOD to coaching. Charlie, I threw in the mid game. I don't know what to have. I need my mid game sucks. I'm talking like more than half of the time, it's the transition period from early to mid. It's not even deep in the mid game. It's not the
correct. Yeah, it's
35
the
minute
transition.
It's a
nap.
situation that you've created.
Correct.
Yeah, it's the
Yes.
exact situation that like when I began this whole episode with, the Karthus that is still full clearing. When
Yes.
his first item, we could have broken bot like in the heavy trading, right?
It's
like,
what you do immediately
it's
after
that
breaking
the
bot
whole
tower.
game's different. It's a different game. You explode the
I
game.
do like, you know, what's that game where like you put like the fucking things in like that the building blocks and you take them out? Jenga, right?
Yeah.
I feel like translating leads, it's like to translate leads properly, right? You're taking out all the safe ones, but like if you're if you're trying to translate leads in a game that you've messed up in the early to mid game, you're hanging on by like one.
Yeah, like, Nathan, how do I keep this tower up?
And it's like it's wobbling. It's wobbling from the 20-minute
It's
mark.
like, mate, let's look back. How did the tower get like?
Yeah,
this
why
is the
are we
first-
like why are we balancing
That's
on
a
one
perfect
beam?
analogy. That's
You
a great
know?
analogy. Yeah. You want to resurrect their Jenga towers.
Exactly, it's gone. Once that timber's gone, it's gone. You're
Yeah.
now you have to deal with this situation that you've created, this mess of a
Yeah,
situation.
that's why we use the reverse engineering technique.
Exactly
in the reviewing.
right.
But that, again, I'm just going to keep tying every topic together. About tilt, one of the bigger things with tilt as well is like learning to review games, knowing that X action leads to Y result, and opening up the VOD and going back and finding out why things occur. That's a skill,
Definitely,
and it's harder. It's easier to not tilt if you know why things happen. You know,
100%. Moving on.
Mailbag time. Away we go. Back for Nathan's mailbag. Jingle, jingle, jingle song. Alrighty then. Our first question here comes from Cull Xerath, the Ascended Goalkeeper. The title of this email is Monkeys and Typewriters. Dear BBCers, on a recent episode you mentioned that we should build what suits our unique playstyles rather than what's optimal. You did draw the line at Tank Ash, but otherwise encouraged unorthodox builds. Let's see if your conviction holds after you hear this one. This piss bang.
he did not say that.
I'm a gold plat Xerath mid player. On this champ, it doesn't matter whether I win lane. In this elo, it doesn't matter whether I win other people's lanes. The game will last 30 minutes anyway. I'm not good enough to carry with a reasonable lead, and neither are my teammates. What I need is an unreasonable lead, one that changes my breakpoints. The resulting build is what I like to call the goalkeeper build. It has no right to work, but it netted me 600 LP in 1 week. Starter, Cull, no potion.
On Xerath?
Yes.
Oh, we're off to the races. Let's go.
Runes, Dark Harvest, Gathering Storm. Build, only max AP and Magic Pen, never defensive items. The game plan is to prevent games from ending. That's it. I am the goalkeeper. I sit in base with my 900 AP and deny the enemy's ability to siege. My team will 4v5 the enemy team over and over again while I sit back. It doesn't matter if we lose a 4v5 because the enemy can't siege. If we roll the dice enough times, we are bound to win a 4v5 eventually. As long as I play correctly, we have infinite dice rolls. Why don't I... I love this view of the game. This is great.
Infinite dice rolls.
Why don't I just brute force 1v9 the game? Because Xerath can't do that. I can get ran down by almost any champ, even if I have 6k gold lead over them. And why don't I just learn Cassid on a Kayle? Because I don't want to. You'd expect me to say something along the lines of the hard party survive in the early game, but it isn't. It wasn't until Plat 2 that people stopped mindlessly pushing waves for me to freeze. Predictably, I had to relearn the game once I had to get to an elo where this build stops working. It's an entirely different kettle of fish now that I regularly lane against Emerald players, but it finally feels like I'm actually learning something rather than rotting in gold and accruing bad habits. I'm disappointed that I didn't get out of my plateau until I started treating it with the respect it deserves. That is by completely ignoring the laning phase, by refusing to ever go side lane, by relying on Gathering Storm to get me through the late game, and by playing goalkeeper for teammates who will queen flip my every game. Do you think we should build to our unique play styles, or is this bridge too far and might end up counterproductive?
I think this guy's accidentally stumbled on two things, and the rest is kind of a bit hogwash, right? So the two things that he stumbled across, which is why he's having success. Number one, actively saying no to bad fights. Embedded in his strategy is saying no to bad fights, which is a huge reason why people struggle in those ranks specifically. So that's number one. And the other one is whether or not how accurate it is. He has stumbled across Xerath's reference points to some degree, hasn't he?
And he's also doing the perfect build. There's nothing unorthodox about what he's doing.
He's starting Cull.
The Cull thing.
Minus Cull. Everything else is perfect.
Yeah, it's just
the best
full AP,
Xerath
right?
in, I think the one in EU, who got challenged for multiple seasons, goes Dark Harvest, full scaling, full AP.
So it sounds like he's valuing his life. He's saying no to bad fights, and he's bruising his wave clear.
It's exactly what Xerath does. So nothing really about minus Cull is unorthodox about his playstyle. It's literally the champion's identity. And the reason you don't need to build defenses on Xerath is because you're so high range anyway.
Yeah.
And often in fights, you're just going to be popping that R and just, trying to one-shot the AD carry or whatever. That's very normal. So what he's doing is absolutely spot on. Now, obviously, to push from that point, there needs to be a little bit more nuance, right? And I would say the difference maker when you watch the best Xeraths is that, they minimize lane, chill, relax, scale. Then they get, the difference maker is how they use their R in between waves. So they'll hover a side lane, try to R someone to get an assist or proc the Dark Harvest or get a kill and things like that. So how good you are at Xerath is obviously your threat assessment, your positioning in fights, but also your R usage in between waves. But outside of that, we can't really answer the question because he's playing Xerath basically identically how you should.
So, and he's capped out and plateaued because he's too rigid. Right? Because he's over-indexing on the there probably is times where he could just dominate the lane or whatever.
He could dominate the lane, or he can step out of the base and just win a team fight or whatever it is.
Right, yeah.
Or he could actually side here and there.
Because
catch waves.
Yeah, once you're ahead as well, if you get ahead, if you rack up a few kills, you can just ARAM and win every fight.
Yeah, if you get to the objective first,
Yeah,
or
get to the objective
fight
first.
on the mid wave. Xerath's fight
Sweet
on
vision,
the mid wave.
just stun someone who walks in, just one shot, boom.
Getting a control ward down and queuing me out from fog. That's the most annoying thing.
But this is the thing here, right? Like, again, you typically want to create rules and then eventually you're going to have to break them, right? So he's playing kind of to the T, it sounds like, to these rules. And that's only going to get you so far.
It's the program if statement thing.
Yes,
I always say that those players struggle in League because they especially those players that come to coaching sessions, they want the formula, then they just apply that formula.
You've got to adapt.
Yeah, it's not how League actually works, especially to a point.
Again, whatever that plateau point is, whether it's now, whether it's later, again, you need to start breaking the rules, being a little bit more open-minded and adaptable what's on your screen. But yeah, like you said, Charles, I think he's just stumbled on exactly Xerath's identity. So well done.
Well done, yeah.
When you're playing the meta build, that's the meta build.
Yeah. And that's the 600 LP, right? Playing perfectly to your champion's identity.
Champ mastery.
Champ mastery, playing your champ's identity and owning that identity. Fully all-inning on that identity.
So think about the Tank Ash version of that, right? Is playing AD carry, building randoms and stuff like that. Is that your champ identity as Ash?
No. So they're chalk and cheese examples.
Yep.
So the equivalent, though, if we're talking about Xerath, would be like Tank Xerath, or you're going ADC Xerath, or something like that. That would be the equivalent of the Tanker Ash, right? It would be or something like that.
Yeah, I can't even think of.
Or like Bruiser Xerath, where you're building a Leandri's and an Iceborne and things like that. That would be the difference.
And there is actually
good luck trying to climb with that.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
And it's actually quite common to play scaling champs with setups with correct me if I'm wrong, to get through the laning phase and like make it less optimal? Because isn't the idea of Cull to like help you get through laning phase a bit better?
Well, Cull. Okay, so like
Because you're like an auto
we're gonna
attack.
get Cull, right? Well, look,
No, Cull's greedy.
Cull
Doesn't help you.
It doesn't give you HP, right? Which is a challenge.
It gives you AD, right?
Yeah,
so
but
it helps
it,
you last
it does
hit.
give you some HP back, the flat whatever it is on it.
Yeah, on
HP back.
on here, yeah.
On hit. But on Xerath, you're not getting any mana, you're not getting any HP, which is anti-burst, and you don't really auto attack the enemy that much. So like, and you use a lot of abilities to smash out waves. So it's very unintuitive. It's just a shit buy for Xerath straight up. It's a terrible choice.
It's garbage.
So you can be edgy if you want and build it, but it's literally suboptimal.
Because you have to sell it immediately.
Yeah. Just go Dorrance. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Solve all your problems.
No 80 carry.
If you want to be
Cull, by
greedy,
way.
the
No
greedy choice for a mid laner is Dark Seal Refill Star.
There you go, yeah.
That's the greedy one.
All right, next question here comes from John. The title of his email is Rank Inflation.
Here we go again.
Here we go
Charlie's
again.
favorite.
Third episode in a row.
Wake me up when we're talking about mid-game again.
Lessons from Wild Rift and Riot Solutions.
Riot.
We're gonna have to talk about Riot and inflation again, guys. Let's get
this is to the end of the episode. Just leave.
let's get into the mindset.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
We're gonna give John the credit here.
No, I'm kidding. Sorry, John.
Hi, Curtis, Nathan, and Charlie. Felt compelled to write this in after listening to your guys' latest discussions on ranked inflation in League. I haven't played League in almost 10 years, but have been playing Wild Rift consistently since its release about 5 years ago.
Cool.
I've always felt that many of League's changes are trialed on Wild Rift, like Aegis or the ARAM Mayhem mode, though this is debatable. The ranked inflation issue League is facing now is reminiscent of what happened in Wild Rift a couple of years ago at this point. So I wanted to share what happened and what Riot did about it. For context, Wild Rift is now in season 20. Since we have a new season every 3 months. So back in
Season inflation.
so back in season 1 to around season 4 to 6, seasons are approximate since they were so long ago. I can't remember exactly. We followed the league rank system completely in terms of gaining, losing LP and rank distribution, except that below Diamond, instead of LP, we had marks where a win gains you a mark and a loss mark, and a loss makes you lose a mark.
What?
Following League's system gave the ranks a prestige, in my opinion. The first time I hit Diamond 4 in Season 4 in Wild Rift, I was so proud to be in the top 1%. And the first time I hit Master, I was elated. I was in the top 0.02%. There's a leaderboard tab in the game that tells you, what percent you're in, what top percent you're in. However, over time, it became too hard to climb. So Riot gradually began to institute changes to make it easier for casual mobile players. Firstly, the LP system was removed and marks are now applicable at all ranks, meaning that MMR only matters for matchmaking and not the gain loss of LP. While this change did not solely cause inflation, this was the beginning of changes that led to it. Next, we have the Fortitude system, which doesn't exist in League. Essentially, after each game, you get a bit of Fortitude points and filling up the bar, which differs in difficulty based on rank. Will award a mark loss for that game. Points got are very little from each game, except when you achieve an A or S rating in the game. That can fill up the bar considerably. Riot started giving out ranked Fortitude cards, which fill up the bar by half or a third simply by playing a ranked game. These cards start to get much easier to obtain, such as through events or battle passes. Finally, we got Galio's Aegis, which I see as a trial for League's Aegis. This is where you get an S rank and lose, you have LP, loss protection, and if you get an A and lose, you get the Fortitude or bar half filled. You also have a new system where each team has an MVP or SVP for the losing team, so you can get bronze, silver, or gold, MVP, SVP, gold, MVP, SVP fills up the bar by half. Currently, for the past 8 or so seasons, 25% of the player base is in Master.
Great.
Completely devaluing the rank. Playing in gold or below are bot games, and PvP only starts in plat, making plat leagues bronze/iron. The rank 1 player abuses Aegis by playing Scion and guaranteeing an S rank, either forcing proccing Aegis when losing or letting his team carry him to a win.
So wait, so just to clarify, if you get an S in Wild Rift, you lose no LP, even if you lose the
It
game.
sounds like it's something like that,
Yeah,
where
that's
like
what's
you,
happening, yeah.
They're just handing out all these protections, so you get these cards.
and you can
get
find
these
ways to guarantee
bars.
an S, so
Yeah.
you can like,
Yeah.
if you win, you win, but if you lose, you're not really losing.
Sounds like
much.
the rules to like Catan or something. There's many different paths to victory.
Yeah.
Like Sion's just getting longest road every time. And he's just losing no LP or something. Like Sounds very complicated.
So what did Riot try to do? As per your discussion, they added ranks by first splitting Master and GM into M3, M2, M1, and GM3, GM2, and GM1.
Oh.
And they added a rank above Challenger known as Sovereign. They also have introduced a completely new, very competitive rank queue known as Legendary rank, where it's solo queue only and players' names are masked until the victory defeat screen.
Wow.
This mode proves success only in China, but a flop everywhere else due to no one playing it. At this point, I feel the only true competitive mode is Legendary rank in China, and normal rank doesn't have much value. I certainly hope this won't happen in League, and I doubt it will, but I thought this would be very interesting to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's the route they're going down, adding new ranks in the Apex tiers,
Cool.
potentially adding one above Challenger.
The LP inflation, the ages.
I do think even though it's a great email, it gives us a lot of context. I do think, mobile games and PC games are fundamentally just very different.
Different audience.
Different audience, right? I mean, a lot more casual in the mobile games. They're really trying to tap into that casual audience, whereas like
this guy listens to the Broken by Concept podcast, even though he doesn't play League. This guy's a hardcore gamer.
yeah.
So
I'm not saying you can't be a hardcore gamer on mobile.
Yeah.
I'm just the percentiles, right?
but he really values like getting to master tier
Yeah.
and stuff like that because ranks like mean a lot. So yeah, it's like this, as we saw the last episode, we're shifting the bar, like what's good rank and it's just confusing
Very
everyone.
confusing.
25% of people in Masters is crazy.
Yeah.
And then below Plat was bot games.
yeah.
So you got from Plat to Master to play the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird.
This just doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
It'd be very jarring going from Wild Rift to League.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine you go from Wild Rift, you're in like Master Tier and you go to, or you're in like Diamond and you go to normal League and you play a few games, you're in Iron or Bronze.
Yeah,
And you're like,
it'd be
holy
crazy, yeah.
moly.
So I thought that was interesting to share, following trends of things, This is the same company that make the same game.
That was deeply confusing. I don't understand the rules. And there's more seasons than bloody home and away. So it's very confusing.
Only the Australians, I think, will get that reference.
All right. Well, that wraps up our episode today, ladies and gentlemen. Reminder,
Treat that even
Bootcamp.
like a joke. That's what I've done, unfortunately. Sorry, John. Bootcamp.
Bootcamp number 9, limited tickets available. Link in the description below this weekend. Sign up, fun events, and and going to get into some mid-game details.
Oh, you can
of the bootcamp.
spectate as well, right? Don't worry. If you want to, even if you buy a ticket and you get paired with a different coach,
For the whole weekend.
For the whole weekend, you can spectate anyone's sessions. You
Anyone
can
on the coach in.
Watch Curtis coach, watch Nathan coach. If you really want to, you can watch me coach. We pair everyone with a coach who specializes in your champions. We try our absolute best to do that. All hand-picked.
Perfect
So,
matchmaking.
Yes.
Yep.
So
And Nathan
matchmaking.
will be cosplaying the entire weekend as
Yes,
Rek'Sai.
exactly right.
Special event.
Not
You
happening.
want to see it?
Yep. Nathan's going to unburrow.
It's not happening. We'll see you guys on our next episode.